Hey, I'm actually enjoying playing as Jingsai, which is something I wasn't expecting, but par for the course for this game. It's like the most boring weapons are the most fun, and all the exotic weapons either aren't in the game or they're just like not very interesting, like the nunchaku. But today I wanted to talk about just how much we take creative people for granted in the gaming community. I think it's something that happens outside of the gaming community too. You know, we have artists that barely make ends meet and stuff, but kind of opened my eyes today. I'm gonna go ahead and post a link in the description. But the person who made the style switcher for the crappy Ubisoft port of DMC3, he posted that he has a Patreon, and he's asking people to help him so that he can do the same thing for the Steam board version, or the HD version. And he's got no backers right now, and I think that's kind of weird because the community basically has relied on his mods to make DMC3 functional at all for years. I just went to his page and there's not a single person backing him. I kind of felt bad. I haven't played DMC3 like seriously in so long, so I don't know how much I'd use it, but I kind of just want to back him out of the principle of being able to relate to it. Like, I have a hard time funding stuff for the channel as it is, and I think he deserves the money even more than anything I do. Like, he's straight up, you know, modding these games and stuff and making sure that they can run and improving them for everybody, and you know, he's struggling to get support. Whatever, I don't care about this. I think it's a problem a lot is just, you know, people will beg for stuff, but they don't want to pay for it. And I understand everybody can't support everybody. I certainly can't support all the people I want to. You know, if I had the cash right now, I'd support the guy who's doing the style switcher mod. I'd give him like $100, but I don't make enough money to do that. I understand that everyone's budget is different, but I think we still take creative people for granted a lot. It happens a lot in the Tokusatsu community too. I was worried that with the Shout Factory releases that we're getting for the Super Sentai seasons, that those would stop pretty quickly, simply because the Tokusatsu fandom is not used to having to pay for anything. We've always had to use bootlegs and fan subs and stuff for the longest time. But I was proven wrong there. It seems like everybody is actually supporting those releases. And at the same time, the Devil May Cry community doesn't really have that many like notable people that are personalities. I think that's part of the problem. There's nobody who can like really try to ramp up hype and exposure for the guy trying to do these mods and get people to help support him. I don't really consider myself one of those people. Maybe back when 4 came out, but I kind of fell out with the franchise for a while because of the whole needing to have the PC version to like actually train in the game and still maintain some modicum of sanity. So I kind of fell out. I started playing Bayonetta and some games, Basara, all that kind of stuff instead. I'm not really the kind of person that could do it. You know, you have people like Squillo. Squillo is pretty close, but he plays so much stuff, and he's also a really busy guy, so he can't devote as much time to everything as he wants to. But he provides high-level gameplay on so many games. I do my best, but I'm also spread pretty thin sometimes too, because sometimes I can't always cover everything that I want to. I think artists have it the worst though. Like, artists people will just straight up steal their work and retweet it, and they're like, you know, the original post and the original artist will have like, you know, 20 impressions on it or interactions, and then someone steals it and puts it up somewhere, or even worse, they dump it on their YouTube and get all the money. I think they have it the worst, but we take a lot of people in the gaming community for granted as well, and I wish that that would change. Kind of makes me feel bad about my work. You know, I always am down on myself about my work. I feel like I don't always deserve the support that I get. And this guy has basically made Devil May Cry playable for people who play on PC for years, and he doesn't have anybody backing him at all. It just makes me feel bad. This character's so fun. I don't really know how you can change it. I know that every fan base can have like thousands of people, but like how many people can actually support someone who really needs it financially is always going to vary. And I think that's part of the problem. You know, you have speedrunning communities, like those guys can raise like a couple $100s to get to like a GDQ event or something pretty easily. Sometimes they even do it twice a year. Then you have other communities where it's like it's a struggle to even get one thing funded. And there's so many factors, like, you know, how much disposable income that community has, or how much people take things for granted. So obviously, pretty big factors. I was honestly shocked that I was able to get enough support for the Switch. I didn't think that that was something that would ever happen. I did have to kind of struggle a little bit last month to get it, but still, I'm really thankful for the support I got. I hope that the DMC community will be able to support Serpentine for making the style switcher. And I played that port yesterday, the DMC1, and it ran at like hyperspeed on my computer, so I don't know how well that bodes for DMC3. But I'm honestly not going to buy it unless it has the Style Switcher mod. That's how important that mod is, and it's kind of a shame that he's not really getting the support that he deserves. At the same time, I feel like Capcom should actually put more effort into their remasters and include stuff like that. You shouldn't have to run a mod just for something that the community is widely requesting. And even if the engine itself is moddable, like MT Framework is, you should still like actually provide good tools. They should provide like mod tools and have Steam Workshop support, which makes it easier for people to kind of jump in and make something. And it's pretty crazy that games like Binding of Isaac, which are small indie games, have more support in that field than most, pretty much any Japanese game. Like, imagine if this game had mod support. I imagine there would probably already be a lot of really cool quality of life stuff. Probably would even have like full unique movesets and things like that. But you know, since mod support for any Japanese game in general, even most PC games, is still such an afterthought. You know, we have to rely on like a few people who can actually like reverse engineer the code and go in and fix it. But unfortunately, you know, time is money, and it's not cheap to spend like all day working on that stuff when they have to juggle other stuff too, just to keep themselves alive and whatever their work or income sources. You know, for me, I live on disability. I don't make a lot of money doing this. Pretty much everything I make goes back into the channel. Like, for instance, last month I had a pretty big check from Curse. And that was why I pushed for the Switch fundraiser. Obviously, there's nothing really crazy going on the Switch right now. It's honestly pretty barren, to the point of people complaining about it incessantly. But I wanted to have it because I knew that it was going to have good games, but at the same time, I did not really have any kind of opportunity to do that later on. I got a pretty good revenue from this game, doing all the guides and stuff, but that's going to have to go towards my trip in May. So I won't really have a whole lot of funds to be messing around with the channel for a while. I think a lot of it is there's lots of people who want to ask for support, but they're so scared of the backlash. That was a problem that I had when I first made my Patreon. My mom had to call me on the phone and basically beg me to make it, telling me that I make good content and it would help me out a lot. And I kept telling her, my depression was talking and telling me no one would want to back me and that I don't make good content and stuff. I think that's a problem that most people, a lot of people who probably do really well on Patreon, maybe to the point of even being able to sustain themselves off it, are, they have that kind of doubt too. Sorry, it's kind of hard to commentate and play this game at the same time, especially when you're trying to concentrate on making the enemies not take out. But I think the point of this video is to try to support the people who make the things that you rely on. And I understand that most people get stuck on just not being able to support them monetarily or financially. But there's a lot of other ways you can support too, even if you just like retweet their work. That can go a long way. You never know what could happen from a retweet. You know, someone else can see it and spread it out to more people, and you know, maybe they can help them, maybe they can back them or donate to them. In my case, what helps me out a lot is the comments. So when I get comments saying that my stuff is helpful, you know, that keeps me going. That the Patreon helps, but like I said, I don't live off it. You know, if everyone just kind of randomly stopped backing me, it wouldn't really prevent me from rerunning the channel. It would make things a hell of a lot harder, that's for sure. But I would still be able to do it. I just wouldn't be able to do stuff like, you know, get the Switch, you get random surprise games for the channel like Bayonetta. You know, that was all thanks to you guys, and I hope that the Devil May Cry community is actually going to step up and help this guy. Right now, his goal is $300 a month to cover his monthly expenses, and he doesn't have a single backer. It just makes me depressed to see that, because that community has relied on him to make DMC3 playable for like the past, I don't know how many years. I don't remember exactly when the Style Switcher came out, but quite some time ago. Yeah, I just feel like as a society in general, we need to stop taking creative people for granted, because most of us are not doing too well. Even the ones that are doing well have to deal with people stealing their shit all the time and, you know, taking credit for it. It happens far too often. So I just wanted to kind of open people's eyes, you know, just because we have Patreons and a couple thousand people watching our stuff. Most of us aren't doing that well, and we really need your support. So I'm going to go ahead and link to his Patreon more than mine. I think you should definitely support him. In the event that that port does run well and the Style Switcher runs well, he actually has like a bunch of other stuff planned too, like even local co-op for DMC4. Like, that's the kind of stuff that people should be supporting someone for. That's like crazy stuff that people have begged for years, and he's not getting any support at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to help him out. If you've used the Style Switcher at all before, that's actually from this same guy. So go ahead and help him out. I'll probably have more Jingsai gameplay maybe once the patch comes out. You can see the game's still kind of struggling to run on my computer. So once that happens, I'll definitely have more footage. Anyway, catch you guys later, and thanks for listening to my little corny public service announcement. Peace.